Okay, so I'll start with XRP, and I'm going to start with this chart. Just as a reminder, is following this orange pattern here. It's mimicked three times in a row. The only thing that hasn't happened is the drop on the final one, and then the confusion of is it did this drop already happen? This dropped here already happened, and now we're in this corrective phase, and we're heading on up, yeah. So that we have a here on the right now we have our first wave. There's the lift. Look, there's the first wave. There's the lift. Is we have a correction here down to 38, and then we head on up. We're heading on up for the new bull market, yeah. So it definitely looks like that. Or are we having our final lift here for the dump? Final lift here for the dump. That's the question. I don't know. With regards to patterns and just testing all the lines and the support, is there seems to be a dump. There seems to be one more drop left. If you look at the triangle here, there seems to be one more drop left. It seems to be. So that's what I'm toying with. If I look at when I zoom in like this, is when I look at it as a wedge, just very simply, you've got one touch, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 to the top is 2 to the bottom. Is this wedge says that there needs to be another touch to the bottom, yeah. And again, look on the macro fib here. Is you can see it bounced to the 0.65 very sweetly, and a lot of times is when we're looking at a correction, just on any timeline, an hour, 4 hour, whatever it is, yeah, is you can see price action will come, XRP will come to somewhere around the golden pocket, do a retrace to the 0.5 a little bit more, and then come down for its final blow off top or blow off bottom, hitting somewhere between the 702 and the 786. 702 is quite secure. 786 is, it does it more often than not. more often than not, yeah. Really likes it. So that's an argument for the down, you know, and that potentially this here is we could be coming into another consolidation, another arc, and then potentially we have our breakdown. Or if this is pumping, is we're going to have a short space in here, and then it heads up, pumps up to about 70. Yeah, might have a deeper correction and then head on up. It needs to come back to 38 or so at some point. See this line here? It needs to come back and touch off this before it heads on up. So even if this does break up, no matter how high it goes, it will come back to this at some point. So preferably it comes back to it now, yeah. Excuse me, if we are going up. But the wedge says we're potentially going down. But now, I had this on before, the expanded blowhorn, down here. And again, on the touches on this, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this says, look, there's 6 touches. It's bouncing along here, and we're heading on up. So there's an argument. There's an argument for both. When I look at the general pattern here, and I'm just looking at patterns, yeah, is look at this red support line here. Is that you'll see that you've got one phase where it drops, it comes back up. You can see it does nearly a double top here. There's an arc here, and then it spills. Again, it has its first drop, comes up again. You know, does a double top, and then spills, breaks again. So now here we are, we have our drop, we have again our first consolidation, so it drops again, holding the line, and now here we have our next lift. Now this could be an argument for literally for the breakout, because this is higher, this is lower, This is higher, this is lower. This one's lower, this one's higher. So for the first time in it, it's switched. Is this is lower, this is higher. So that's a solid indication for potentially the bears are turning into the bulls. So when you look at it that way, is it still? So therefore, if that was the case, well, then maybe we don't need to play this out so much. Maybe this can just bounce up like this, yeah. Or again, we have it playing out and then we head up. So you can see the two patterns that I'm describing here for you, yeah. So again, I don't know. Is I'm looking at three, there's these two, and then this could be just, this could play out here, and then the next one just comes down. There's a drop. So now, when I look at this pattern, this is this price action here. When I look at this here as an expanding wedge, now the look at this on the 1 hour, but I can put it on the 4 hour. It's the same, yeah. I've got the EMAs or SMAs here. Just checking I noticed something about them. Okay, yeah. Okay, so now 4 hour. On a 4 hour move, you got this expanding wedge. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 touches to the top. Are we going to get our third touch to the bottom, which again would take us down to the 200 SMA on the 4 hour here. And then we could bounce off there, yeah. And that takes down around the 38 mark. So what we've done is we've touched off this support here again. We've touched off this support, and that can free us to head on up, yeah. If it breaks below, as I said before, if we go to the daily, if it breaks below the 50 SMA on the daily, and then there's a back test and gets rejected, then we're going for the dump. So that's it as it's playing out now. So now I'm localizing it. So even if it is going to go up, it's this expanding wedge, or blowhorn wedge, either one, is telling me that we still need to come down and do a touch here. We still need to do this. Now, but more locally again, is here it is playing out as an arc, okay? And as a pattern, I was saying this yesterday, you can see the 1, 2, the push away, and then a sharp pull down, and then look, there's the W. But it's that sharp pull down, there's the W, and then you have the scoops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So to me, that this impulse is done, yeah. The point I'm trying to make is there's a little mimic of it here, where it does its 1, 2, it does a lift, comes back and does a 702, 786 correction, gone sideways, and then does a sharp lift up. So you can see on the arc, we've got skyline, we've got mountain peak, we've got third spike, we've got third drop. Is if we follow the same pattern here one last time, I thought it was going to come down and do this correction. Now it hasn't yet. It still might, but it hasn't yet. So what I'm looking at, still looking at it, is that potentially it comes down to 44.6 to 44.4. Hits off here. If we start to see this little bit of sideways here, see this pattern here, and we might get our pump, our final pump up, to come back up and hit. See, we back tested this orange channel. We touched it yesterday. We might come up and get that final spike up, and again touching off the purple channel here again one final time, and that will give us our final peak up here, which is a bit more clearer of the three tops of the arc, yeah. And then we could be getting our push down. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Potentially, it may not go up here. We may just get the pull down, which I'm going to show you why as well. Now it may just collapse here now. But there is a battle going on. So now is actually I'll show you the EMAs first, because the battle on the EMAs is much easier to see. On the 5 minute, you can see the turn of the day here. We topped out on the impulse. The turn of the day, look, the VWAP, the yellow one, was resistance. Again, the 20 and the 55 on the 5 minute crossed over, so there's a pump here. On the 15 minute, sorry, I was on the far left, top left. Top right here is the 15 minute. But look, you can see how close the 20 and the 55 is. If the 20 crosses the VWAP, the yellow, and the 55, the blue, at the same time here, this is a strong push down. That'll be a really strong push down. When it crosses both at the same time, there's a tendency to have a bigger kick in it, you know. Bottom left is a half hour. Look how close the half hour is as well. So the half hour crossed over, half hour crosses down again, and then bottom right is the hour. Now this is one of the things we're looking at, is that the hour crossed over up here. You get the initial push down. Now you get the back test to the 55, which it's doing, giving it a strong test. If it gets rejected, the hour turns down and we get our strong push down. And again, we start moving towards 38. However, if it crosses up, we get another leg up. We get another leg up. Now I'm going to shift into this one just to go up through a couple of more hours, just to make the screen a little bigger. Yeah. So look, there's the 1 hour. So there's the 1 hour, and you can see I'm potentially looking at this still. Yeah. I've got to bring this up now, I think, because of the way this moved. This went higher. I thought I had it marked here. I know sometimes it goes a little higher, but it went actually all the way up here. So we've got to bring this up to about 44.5, say. So we still could get that touch down, then this push up, and then our turn down. But look, my point is, there's the EMAs on the hour, yeah. Now look how close the 2 hour is. So the 2 hour did a drop, back test. The 3 hour, look how tight the 3 hour is, all very tight. And then the 4 hour is part of my argument for another leg up here before it comes down, is because you can see the 4 hour came up from here, is test, rejected, so the white here came to it, got rejected, came again, another lift up, drop, another little test, again potentially we correct here a little bit, back up, and then one more final test. So it gets 3 tests and it breaks through in the third one. That's it. That's a strong possibility, yeah. But now this is where I'm going to challenge that thought. So on the 6th day, a bunch of days changed yesterday. A bunch of days changed. So let's zoom in. I'm going to go through them all because the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 day all changed at the same time yesterday. All changed turn of day yesterday. So let's have a look. Is the yellow, the VWAP, continues to be down. And then you can see the 5 coming up here, cutting through the 20 EMA. The white one, the orange is the 5, yeah. But the VWAP is down. So just keeping it fairly general, unless there's something really specific. Bottom right on the second here, the stock RSI, you can see it gave a lift, a drop, and a lift again. And a lot of times that if you look at this lift, it came. Look at price action. This lift came from here. So all this movement took the 6 day RSI back to the top. Had a little drop. Now look at this small movement here on the stock, but look at the big movement on price action. So that's sort of indicating that it's topping out a little bit, and there's a strong rejection candle here, yeah. So at least it seems to me that there needs to be at least a correction here. Again, back to at least 38 or so, yeah. If I wanted to do a fuller correction here, might even come back to 35. Might even come back to 35. But that could be an argument for a bigger drop. So, but anyway, is the VWAP. The VWAP here is down. That's really what I'm trying to say. And the stock looks like it wants to turn, but there's a bit of a battle going on. Could it do a little spike up? Yes, it could. So the 4-day turned. So now this is where it gets a little bit more interesting with regards resistance. Is you can see the topping out. You can see the process of moving in a correction here. You can see the battle going on the 5. Is it wicked to it twice. This time now the 5 is up at price action, but at the same time, here's the 55, the blue. It's gone a little sideways. Do you see the resistance of it? And a little pop back up to there at 48.50 is very possible. You can see the 50 coming down really strong here as well. And this definitely over the 4 days could turn into resistance. I believe so, more than support. More than support. But until this 5 makes its next move, it's hard to know. But down on the bottom right is you can see that the MACD, or sorry, not MACD, the RSI here, sorry, the second bottom on the right, is the stock RSI is looked to took a turn, again, and again you can see it's crossed. If you zoom in, it's actually crossing over here on the 4 days. So the 4 days seems to be working its way through to a reversal to a down, yeah. So again, and kind of pop up to 48, 42, yeah, for sure, yeah. Let me just have a quick look because I'm looking at that green again. Is that making a move? Just having a quick look, just checking my trade here for a second. Okay, yeah, the hour is pushing. Okay, so I know these are dailies, but they're very pertinent at the moment. Yeah, it's a real tight space. It's all playing in. So the 3 day. If there's a reversal going on as we go down through the days, we should see it play out a little further. So the 3 day should be showing that reversal a step ahead of the 4 day, if you get what I'm trying to say. And you can see that here where the 5 is actually broken through on this one. But now the 5 breaking through here again is when it does that generally that means it's resistance, yeah. Unless the 10 was coming up here pretty fast and it can turn it, but at the moment, generally when it does this, it turns the 5 into resistance. So this is the argument about the resistance here. Is it coming down and doing its correction? See, there's the 44.11. So again, a bounce off this first, and then another lift back up to, again, here's the 277 EMA around the 49. You know, and within that range, then we can get that stronger push down. It might seem tedious to be watching this over the days, but it's like a slow motion action. If you look bottom right, in a second, is you can see the stock here is taking a sharper turn down today, and it's still in the overbought, but it looks like on the next turn potentially, if it's going to go down, it'll drop back in and start to move down, yeah. And the MACD is slowly looking like it's coming around, yeah. So okay, I'll move faster now because you're getting the idea, yeah. So here is the 2 day, and look, here's the 5 coming down strong. Here's the VWAP, and the VWAP, I think this VWAP's moving up and down a little bit, but I think by the time this VWAP gets done, it'll be, if it does the correction, it'll be back down here. It depends. If we get this correction done today, and we could have a bit of a yo-yo going on down here and then up. It could all happen in a day, or it might take a couple of days, yeah. But you can see the stock on the 2 days heading down. Here's the MACD is slowly coming over that little bit more, and again the RSI on the right, the bottom left, the 2 on the left there is the RSI was in the overbought. It's back into the space that is coming down, yeah. But look at the 10 on the price action. Look at the blue 10 here. The blue 10 here is, look, you can see the test, and it hasn't broken it. So that's the battle that's going on today. Look at the tight space between the 5 and the 10. So it might hold that tight space today, and just there's a real tug of war where it pushes itself to the correction, and then it might start to head on up for its top. Yeah, I'm not sure. It might just do one today, and then tomorrow the daily will turn again, and then it releases something, and the space opens up a bit more. Yeah, that's if it's going to do what I'm thinking. Yeah. Okay, so the daily is the daily. So you can see you see all the days are there's a real turn for the down on the dailies. There's a lot more support for the down than there was, but again you still have MAs coming up, and the main one on the daily is this white one. Look at the 20 EMA, bounce, bounce, bounce. So it's testing it. It keeps getting rejected. So here's the test again. Here's the rejection. Now if you look at this one, it bounced. It came up and did that second top on the arc, and then it came back down here. I would suggest that it came down here first. There was a touch here, an impulse. It came up. There was a correction, and then the push up. So here is, again, there was a touch. It came up. It came down here. It came down, but it didn't do a further correction. It might just be doing an 05 here, and then it might be just going up. Maybe that's as far as it's going to go. Maybe it's not going to come down and do a 786. Maybe that's the case. When I look at it now, look, you can see the rejection. You can see that price action is really testing the 510 and the 200 here. And this is really strong. See, even the 5 turned down today. The 5 was up yesterday. The 5 turned down. The 10 is down. The 200 is here. That's a lot of resistance. It's a lot of resistance. A lot of resistance it is, yeah. But look, it's seriously being tested. Okay, so let's zoom in. Let's zoom in a little bit. Is the 9 hour turned? So this is the bit that's really pushing. See the 5? The 5 is really pushing at the moment, yeah. Where you can see the 10 is here, so there's a real battle going on, yeah. But this looks like it's going to do its lifting now, doesn't it? As we talk. I go to the 4 hour. There it is doing a double top with yesterday's peak here. Okay, I think it slightly went above it, but you can see the 5 is coming through here on them. It's the same with the 6 and the 8 hour. At the moment, the 5 is scooping up and putting that pressure in. Yeah, so you see the 5 here, it's putting a lot of pressure on. Yeah. That's why the pressure is strong at the moment. The 12 hour turned there half an hour ago, and again you can see there's a strong pressure to lift here, yeah. And then the 3 hour, the 2 hour. Again, look, you can see the lift. You can see the lift. And here's the 1 hour. I'm zooming in pretty. I want to do this pretty fast, so I want to zoom into the shorter time frames. So you can see the stock RSI down here, second right, is that's starting to come back up again. Now let's zoom into the half hour. Okay, now you see the half hour, the stock is topping out here. The 15 minute. You see the stock is floating along the top here, going into the overbought again. the 5 minute. I see the 5 minutes come back up on the stock, and it's going into the overbought on the RSI. Far left, you can start to see some bearish divergence, although that would be complete.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Complete.
I think we're going to start seeing the bearish divergence from now.
Yeah, there it is. There it is, 47. Yeah, it looks like it's going to head.
Might come up for 48 and then 4.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to this chart here. There we go. You can see it's potentially heading up for another touch of the channel. It might even head up and hit the purple channel here. And if I use this here as see this here, as a smaller arc, and I put the fibs on it here like this. So this is the smaller arc here, and this is third spike. Is if we come all the way back up here, potentially, again, we're looking at a touch between the 702 and the 786 at 48.72 to 49.30. So again, you got that, and that would give that final peak up here, yeah. So it looks like we might be doing that now. Now, if I'm wrong, is we could be moving more and more into a breakout, but we'll see. We'll see. We need serious volume for that to happen, yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to you can see all the resistance on the daily. So I think wherever this goes is there's a strong pull down from all the dailies. So I think wherever this goes is when it's complete, I believe there will be a pull down anyway afterwards, because all the dailies are indicating that they want to create a resistance and pull it down. So I think this is just going to top out where it tops out, and then it'll be back into a downward movement. I believe we got to see. So look, there it is doing another touch of the channel. There's another touch of the channel. So let me just check where my now. Okay, sorry, just adjusting my my trade there. Okay, let's see where this wants to go. I'm going to go back to the look at this here. So it didn't come back to the 44.55, but it definitely come up and hit 47.19. It's up at 47.47 at the moment. So we'll see. It seems to be doing its final peak here of the arc, yeah. So now let's see what it wants to do after that. Let me go to the EMAs. The thought I'm thinking is, I've only really one more thing to say to you right now, is where is the trading opportunity? So where's my EMAs? Where's my EMAs? Where are they? Ah, Jesus, here they are. I had blown them up. There we go. I'll put this top left back to the 5 minute. Okay, so to me, potentially it looks like there's I was going to say a topping out is when I look at the MAs. Here's the 5 minute. Is the 5 minute? The 5 minute. You see the 5 is moving. The 5 MA is moving away from price action here. I'm not sure whether it's finished. And the RSI is pretty high, bottom left. The stock is the second on the right. That looks like it still has space to live. So there still might be a little bit more of a push in this. If I go to the 15 minute, you can see the stock bottom right. The second it's been sitting high, and it's after doing a blow off here. You look at the 5 here. The 5 isn't following too much. The The 5 isn't pumping away too much here, yeah. If I go to the half hour, you see the stock there, the stock on the half hour is topping out. It looks like potentially it could turn. RSIs again are back in the oversold. Maybe this was it, 3, 4, and then there's the 5. That's it. And I did say yesterday it could go up to between 44 or 47 and 47.05, and there it is at 47.48. Pow. Pow, pow. Okay. So let's see. On the hour here, on the stock, is this lift here, and then maybe wants to turn around and do a drop, yeah. And would the 2 hour support that? Yes, the 2 hours at the top, and that could drop back in from the overbought and head down. Does the 3 hour support that? Because remember yesterday we were talking about the stocks need to get back up. They need to reset to the top. Here's the 3 hour. Look, the 3 hour could again do, at the stock here is topping out here. This could definitely turn. Now again, I am mindful that there's MAs that might want to push this a little higher. But you can see the stocks have come back to the top, like I said yesterday they needed to, yeah. The 4 hour, again here's the 4 hour, getting close to the top again, yeah, there might be a little bit more in it, might need to go a little bit more, or maybe not, we got to see. But there's a real battle going on. So what I'll be looking for is on the next 4 hour, at 3 o'clock today, see this 5 on the 4 hour? I'll be looking to see what this 5 does. Does this 5 want to continue up, or will it do a sharp turn down? Don't be surprised if you start to see these 5s that were aggressively moving up start to take sharp turns down. I could be wrong. But I wouldn't be surprised if I zoom back into the smaller time frame. Is it showing it at all yet? Maybe it's a little too soon. No, it's not showing it yet. Okay, so no. So if this is the top, let's see if the 5 will turn, and then the 15, and we get that cascade of the 5 turning. And we've hit our final peak, and then we're coming back down for a correction. Where might that be? If this is topped out. Now, yeah, I'm gonna just put a little bit of caution on this. Yeah, this is just my experience rather than what I'm looking at just TA. Yeah, is you see this? You see the support line here? Here's the top. Here's the top. Quite often, doesn't always have to be this way, but quite often is with the arc here, is you have mountain peak here, and then for final peak is, if you follow this line, it's nice and neat. The final peak has a tendency to pop it up, and I always have all price action in an arc, in the arc. So normally that means is that if we get the break through this channel again like a wick, it makes the arc move up like this. So as much as we're topping out at 47.5 at the moment, I'm still suspicious that it could do another pop-up. So what I'd be looking for is to see a much clearer correction. So what I would want to see on the EMAs, let's go to the EMAs, is on the EMAs, here's the 5 minute top left, or actually 15. Here's the 5 minute. Okay, there's a bit of a correction coming in, potentially. We want to see the 5 minute turn. You want to see this white cross through the blue. Is you want to see that. Is at the same time, top right is, here's the 15. Here's the 15 minute. Is if the 5 minute crosses through, okay, it's a really good sign. Is the 15 minute is so close to the 55, if it is a real reversal, this will turn around, and it won't take that long. It can do a sharp turnaround, and then we can have a push through, and then we'll have a proper move down. Yeah. So I would be cautious. I would be cautious about a short until this happens. Yeah. Or equally, if you wanted to play the range, is you can go short now at half a DCA. Is pull your stop loss back, pull it higher. If it wants 49, you can DCA in again, and you're playing the range, and you move your position with how it moves. So if it reverses here and goes down, you're grand. If it wants to go up and do that final push up, you can DCA in, and it'll pull it up with you. So you can play that, or you can wait. You can wait for the EMAs to start to cross over, and look, a good sign, the canary in the mine, the first signal is the 5 turning, and then a better confirmation is the 15 turning. Yeah. Now I would suggest that it could be a sharp move, because these EMAs on the different timelines, they're all very, very close to each other. They're all very, very close to each other. So it could turn fast. That's the type of day it might be. I'm going to put this back on the hours. The last thing I'm going to say, I'm only saying this once today, is look at the 5. Look on the 1 hour here. Look at the 20 here. This for sure is looking like, oh my God, this is going to pump. This is going to cross here, and this is going to pump. The only challenge with it is that it's already in an impulse. It's not happening at the start of it. It looks like it's happening at the top of it. So potentially this could be the blow off top. Might it go a little higher? It might. But equally is if you see in the next hour or 2 hours this 20 go sideways and then take a sharp turn down, it's a rejection. And then you're going to see that it's going to head down. So look over the next hour or two what this 20 on the hour does. If you see it go sideways, or you start to see it turn down for a rejection, that's a good sign. It can pop up over the 55 and then start to come down. So, if you see it popping over the 55 but price action doesn't really go much higher, that could be also it's just getting moving in its rejection, its correction form. Yeah. So watch for that. You start to see that, that's a really good sign for a deeper correction. So that's it. What about targets? This is the last thing I'm going to say. Oh, I said it. Okay. Frustrating. Well, it's not for me. I enjoy it, but maybe when somebody says that, it's annoying when I keep saying it. So 3 times. Give me the 3 times rule, okay? So on this impulse here, again, we're looking for maybe a bounce off this line here again. So look, we could come down to again 44. The 786 is the 44.5. 702 is the 44.8. But look, here's the 50 SMA on the 4 hour. So there's a good chance it'll bounce off this. So as a target is, I would say 44.5 is a good. If you go short here, 44.5 is a good target. If it breaks this, I think then we're heading down for 38 or so. Heading down for the 200 SMA on the 4 hour and the 50 on the day. So that's me. That's me done, yeah. Could it go on and do bigger pumps today? It could. It's just the daily MAs are all indicating that there's a resistance top that they don't want broken. So I don't think it's going to go. I don't think it's going to go much higher today. I think there needs to be some form of correction, even if it's a shallow one or a deeper one. There seems to be some form of correction needed to break those multi-day resistances that have appeared. So that's what it looks like to me now. Yeah, and that's me done. Let me hand you over to Mahela.
Good morning, everyone. Now, let's see. As you can see, this is one of my XRP charts. The reason why Roy's analysis are longer, it's because XRP has both a bigger range and its space that it's moving in is a new space. So the lift was the breakout. Now, I was looking at the long term, the daily patterns, And to me, XRP is doing what ETH has done here on the daily, which is challenge the divergence line, the green line here, and then what Bitcoin did here, which was challenge this line, the gray one. So I believe XRP is one step behind, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Now, let's start. You've shared my screen. Okay, super. We're gonna start with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is I told you yesterday that one of the I'm still in my short, by the way. One of the signs of reversal would be getting above the 20 and holding it. We are above the 20. We closed above the 20 yesterday, and we're holding it today. Is it going to be a higher high? We will see. I believe these two at the moment are on the same level. Let me just see the. So this one has a high of 20,177. This one has a high of 20,165. Okay, so we don't have a higher high on the daily at the moment, but we do have the support of the 20 EMA. The stochastic on the daily is has uncrossed. Yesterday it was pretty much crossed down, and now it looks like it wants to go up again. That might happen, a bit of drama. And here on the MACD, it looked like it was going to cross down. It uncrossed, it's heading up. But these waves of difference here, these are the differences between the high prices and the buy prices and the sell prices. And when the waves go like this, it generally signals a decrease in momentum to the upside and a reversal to the downside. However, this is not yet done, because this has not started reversing down on the MACD. So once the reverse is signaled by one of these red candles down, red bars down, then we can say, okay, momentum has started reversing. At the moment, we are holding support. However, this support is within the limits and the space of where we have been moving. So we haven't gone anywhere yet. And I know yesterday looked and was really good to trade on the intraday. There weren't too many chances for entries here at the bottom. This was, as much as this was a 1-2 and a bottoming out of the stochastic and the regular RSI on the 1 hour. There were many chances, but it was still very much tradable and a great range. Now, what do I mean by we're in the same space? This is the sideways channel we've been in for almost a month this week, from here, the 14th of September. So this is the space between 20k and 18,800. That is the space. We still haven't turned the 20k into support. We might do so today. We have done it earlier on and couldn't keep it. It broke down after a couple of hours with this double top structure. According to my swing count, we still need a touch here to the bottom. I don't generally count the first swing into the channel. If we count the first swing into the channel, then this channel is done and we might be ready for a lift. An argument for the lift would be these two bottoming out here rather than here on the bottom line, which happens before a lift up. I have seen that happen. So basically, the sellers don't have the strength to push it down to the inferior limit, and they hold it on the superior line of support. This might be an indication for a lift up. However, for a lift up to be truly confirmed, we would need the 21.6 broken, and that will change the narrative. If we break the 21.6, the narrative changes dramatically, because the 21.6 is above this divergence line and above this divergence line. So these two being daily divergence line and Bitcoin being above the 20, I think we will be in an uplift. Maybe the bottom is in, maybe we won't be coming down for another leg, and we're heading up. That to me, because the trade that I'm doing right now is a long-term trade, that's why I'm not going with the smaller intraday swings. I'm holding on for this short because I believe there's another leg down. I don't believe we have the fundamentals for a lift out of this downwards descending channel from the all-time high. I don't personally. That's not what I believe. So that's why I have my levels for breakout, and they've been holding. So even here, when people were saying, oh, we're going up to 31K, my levels were still holding. They were holding here, they were holding here, they were holding here. Will they hold here? It is heavily tested. A line that's heavily tested tends to be broken. So I am taking that into account. I will be putting a stop loss at 21.7 and checking to see if I will be watching it. The stop loss is when I'm not watching it, in case Asia decides to do a massive pump. But if I'm watching it, I will be watching to see what happens around 21.6, because we may come up here at 21.6 and then reverse down. Very much along the lines of what has happened here. So Mondays also one experience argument rather than TA argument. Mondays are fake move days. So considering Mondays generally finish what Friday started. So Friday pushed us up and down the weekend, and then up we went again at Monday. It was sort of like a reset, like a continuation from Friday. So will there be another swing down? We've yet to see what happens here at this line. I guess during New York today, we will see the reaction of price action at this line. And when we see it, we know it can go up to here or come down to here. Where the RSIs are right now on the 1 hour, there's still space on the stochastic, there's still space on the regular one. They're not maxed out. I didn't personally, when I saw the momentum here yesterday, I thought we were just gonna consolidate a little bit and then head down for this final touch. I thought this was gonna happen yesterday, but it didn't. A great clue for us yesterday was, I'm going to mention it in the post-trade analysis on Thursday too, the way it broke, so it stayed above the pivot point and then it broke the psychological levels and then it never broke back below them again. So if had I been in a long yesterday, I would have kept this long going until the psychological levels are broken. Now the pivot point is a little bit higher. It's our previous line of support, which makes sense. So if price action comes back and hits the 19.5 and doesn't hold it for support, chances are we're going to see a lower low with reference to this. So we're going to see an 18.6, 18.5. Fingers crossed. Now, what did I want to say? There's a crossing of the EMAs on the 1 hour, which generally, yes, I was telling Roy that I don't trust the EMAs at the moment. Might be my chronic trust issues. And there's the EMAs on the 4 hour. So they crossed up here, they crossed up here, they crossed up here. 3 times they crossed, but they're so close together that I can't really trust this. They crossed up here at the top of the swing, crossed up here a little, how can I say, at the start of the swing had a push up, had loads of sideways and then a lift. Here it just kept on going. Yesterday it just kept on going. Yesterday was a baby Hulk pump. That's what I would call it, because it just kept going. So it was the momentum from here just keeping going. But the stochastic on the 4 hour looks like it's pretty much done. Yes. So that now, if we were to look at previous crossings on the 4 hour, like here, massive lift, here, massive lift, here, massive lift. So but you can see the space that they caught up with, that they had to go through to catch up with each other. Here it's not the same thing. Here I don't, because of where Bitcoin, and it's the same situation for Ethereum, the MAs are very tight together. So even on the daily right now, we can see the 5 coming up. What price action can do is top out at the 50 on the daily here, 20,200, a little bit higher than where it is, if it's going there, and then come down. And generally the way I've seen these lifts, here, I'm going to use this example. It's not the exact example, but what I've seen these recovery lifts do is they bring the 5 on the higher time frames, like this daily. Oh, what did I do? I pressed here. Okay.
You might have touched the bar, the space bar.
Yeah, there we go.
Just to reverse it.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. So what we see here on the daily is that this pump brought the 5, which is the more immediate momentum and the more immediate response, brought the 5 up again above the 20 and above the 10. So despite price action staying in the same sideways formation, the 5 is now up. Now, if this 5 reverses down, it will bring price action down one leg when it crosses down the 20, another leg when it crosses down the 10. So it will cause a spill the way it's caused here and the way it's caused here because of its lift. So it's going to come with price action down. Now that is, of course, if my scenario for the down holds. And there are arguments for that. This being around the top formation, to me, this is not a lift out formation. Could this be a W? Yes, it could be a W. For this W to be confirmed on the day, if we are to be super technical, we would need the previous high at about 25K broken. And this would confirm as a W, and it would keep going. And we would basically be lifted out of this bear market. I don't think the bear market is done. Again, the fundamentals are not for it to be done, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, like there's a definite crash of the economy coming.
I
don't see how things can lift out of that when it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a car crash already in motion.
Yeah. And I know the lift. There was a post-COVID lift because people were at home and they were saving money and they were getting money from the government. So people had so they had a large amount of money available for investment. There were no holidays.
Very unreal.
Yeah, and that's why the crash happened. Like we had 2 crashes post when things started opening.
I'm visualizing a car flipping over. It just flips and then flips again. It's like, half a dozen flips before it.
Yes, and that's again, that's I don't, but technically, just to keep a close, lucid analysis on this is not that fundamentals weren't lucid, but
visual.
Yeah, the technical signal for Bitcoin to go into markup, because I won't call it a bull run, into markup, into a markup stage, and for the bottom to be in and the bear market to be over, would be breaking above this little peak here, which would confirm on the daily that this was a W formation, and we're breaking above this, and that would be breaking above the 200 on the daily, and most likely breaking out of this channel going upwards. So that would be it. This would be, that's when again I would be more inclined to long term than to short long term, as I'm doing now.
I'm looking forward to that flip.
Yes, me too. Me too. I think it's a. I think there's something. It feels very wholesome to be longing.
It does, yeah. I mean,
Well, especially when you're a yes.
bear market
Yeah,
last year, you know.
Yeah. I know. So that's let me zoom in. Now let me flip to the arc structure, because I want you to see the arc. I've posted the most. It's very hard with all the sideways. It's really hard to gauge how this arc is. Now again, this might be a 1 hour rather than a 15-minute based on the duration.
Hours, baby, hours.
I don't know what you're saying. I didn't catch the joke. I think you're joking.
It was really hard.
Ah! Look at you, you dirty mind. Okay. Filth bag. Now, so what we have here is mountain peak, final peak. Now, these peaks are in perfect orientation. Like look at how exact they were. So we have skyline higher than all of them. We have a double top here. We have mountain peak. We have final peak. Yes, there is loads of sideways to drive us mad in the meantime, but it is what it is. This is how price action is moving. Could this be final peak? Yes, it could. Did it break up? This was the divergence line that I was watching yesterday. Here it tested it, got rejected. There was a lot of volatility yesterday, got above it and hit this line. And this pink line comes from all the way down here. So it is one of the support, and it's like a center line for this sideways, and it is the 20K line. So this is the 20K line, and it is a psychological level for Bitcoin to hold. Not psychological like our weekly psychological levels in Traders Reality, but a retail psychological level. So I will remove this divergence line because this is not valid anymore. It confirmed the drop and then it confirmed the lift. And now what we are looking for is this line, this 20K, holding for support. Sorry, holding for resistance if you're shorting. If you're longing, I would be taking some profits here and then waiting to see what's going to happen. I wouldn't advise on closing your longs yet, because you still have the levels on the daily, so it is above the pivot point. If you started longing yesterday, I would put a stop loss underneath the pivot point, and the pivot point and the I think this is the 200 EMA, the white line. Yes, it's the 200 EMA on the 15-minute. So I would put a stop loss there to protect some of the losses, some of the profits, obviously. So I wouldn't be closing the longs. Yes, it hit the M4. Yes, it hit the support line, but we have confirmation of reversal when the pivot point is broken on the day. That's when we can see reversal happening. And yes, I know the pivot point is right in the middle of this, but that's the discipline with sideways. It is basically the pivot point and the 200 are right below this yellow line, which is a support, an intermediary support and resistance line in this channel. It's like a sideways layer cake, and we have to watch it go up step by step. I know, but it's Roy's laughing at my. Why are you laughing at my metaphors?
Do you think the lads will get that analogy?
I think so. I think everybody has seen a layer cake. Like, look at the layer cake. Chocolate, vanilla, whatever your flavor is, there it is. It's the layer cake, going through the layers.
You mentioned chocolate, vanilla, it's working now.
Okay, super. So that's where Bitcoin is, a quite orderly lift. Now, yeah, again, I think personally, I think this was a liquidity hunt, and I'm keeping my shorts open. I'm just looking at. You can't make any joke about that. Now I heard it. Okay, now let's move on to Ethereum. Ethereum on the daily. Finally, we have a back test of No, not yet. Sorry, it was my screen this morning. I was looking at Ethereum and I was like, did it finally reach the 20? No, it hasn't. So Ethereum is still below the 20. A stochastic on the daily is maxed out. Did it do a baby Hulk pump yesterday? It did. It had a nice lift, 7.4. Again, the 20 is not back tested. It's not confirmed for support. When it confirms for support, then we can see Ethereum going down to, oh, I'm going to remove this because I'm going to put another one in. Going up to, sorry, this green line, but it has a big space to go through. Basically, twice the lift that it did yesterday. So this was the 4 hour. I made some slight adjustments this morning on the charts because I see price compressing here. Generally, when price compresses here in a wedge formation, this is like a slightly rising formation. And it still needs another touchdown here. So we have, if I bring this line, I left it, there we go. We have 1, 2, 3 touches to the top, including the first swing. So we could go down and up one more time this week for another 3 days of sideways, or we could come down here and break this bottom line, and when this bottom line breaks, we're coming down for at least the 1000 target, and then lower 850. The 4 hour on Ethereum is the one that, again, Ethereum doesn't have the kind of EMA games that Bitcoin has been playing, the crossings up and down. As you can see, the trend has been steadily down. The stochastic is turned down, so I definitely see another swing down being the more probable move. Here is the sideways channel for Ethereum. We've hit again. This is more like one of those fancy cake shop. Yes, you know how they put them in the silicone molds, and then you've got some jelly, and you've got a nut, and then you've got some cream.
Way over the head now.
I know, but it makes sense to me. So here we have the core channel. So here's the core channel, and in the middle of the core channel we have the support and resistance line. So Ethereum hasn't hit the top line of the channel. I think it would be now that I have put in I'm gonna put this here. So this would be the 21.6 of Bitcoin. So we're 1370, between 1370 1390, again, quite psychological levels for Ethereum. If it manages to break upwards, we can see the 1500, we can see the 1600. Absolutely, we can. All of this could be consolidation for reversal, but we need to turn the 1370 1390 range back into support, which would be for Bitcoin the 21.5. If the 21.5 is turned back into support, then of course we can see a lift up to 25, and from 25 further onwards upwards, because we are above the 20 on the daily. And for Ethereum, 1370 would be, not accidentally, the 20 EMA on the daily. So that would be it. Makes perfect sense. It's great confluence. That's what we need to watch for. Can it still do another swing down? Absolutely, if I am to count the swings, and I have to switch to the 1 hour because there's too much sideways here, taking up the screen. And again, I'm not counting this swing. I will put it on the chart, but I won't count it here. Now we need one more touch here, and then one more touch here. So technically we would need one more touch to the top, and then one more touch to the bottom. We would need no, we would actually need one more here as well. So we would need, if we're not taking this into account, we would need 1, 2, 3 touches to the top, and then 1, 2, 3 touches to the bottom, and that would indicate that the final touch would be up high breaking out. But before that, we would need another touch here. And that would, again, that would rehabilitate the stochastic. Like, look at the stochastic on the 1 hour. It hasn't come down since the 2nd of October, Sunday. So it's been up, 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 doing peaks. So we need to see this rehabilitating to the downside, and then we have our pathway cleared up for a lift. Because again, a lift is still in the on the cards, and that it will eventually happen. But we need to see this 1370. We need to see the 20 on the daily being held for support. Again, on the daily levels, we have the pivot point here. So again, if you started longing yesterday, I wouldn't close the long until I see, not the pivot point because it's a little bit too low, until I see the daily open being broken. And the daily open is in confluence with the 200 EMA on the 1 hour. And yes, I will be, you'll see me changing these levels, because if I were trading this swing up, I would be looking to put a stop loss at the higher point to protect more of my profits rather than halfway through the swing. So just to make sure I am taking my profits at the first sign of reversal rather than waiting for it to push down. It has reached the M4. Generally after M3 and M4, if it gets rejected at the M4, it just comes back to M3. It could break down to M2. So M3 to M4 and then M4 to M2 is quite a common move. But again, it depends, because we are on the 4 hour space, we are getting quite restricted here. So between 1360 and 1270, let me check here. What is 1290 is the M2. The low average daily range is 1280. So that would make perfect sense from the M4 to come down to the low average daily range today. It would be another swing in this 4 hour triangle. Okay, so now long story short, for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, we are in the same space as yesterday. We have done a lift to the high. Both of them would need a lift, a push down to rehabilitate the 1 hour stochastics if we are to break upwards, because they will get overheated if it continues the lift from where it is. Could that be a session of New York of sideways to rehabilitate them? Yes, it could. And if they do hold the pivot point today and they're not breaking it, then I think we might see a lift. But we need to have those resistances confirmed. By the way, this is no longer mid-range high. I believe this is mountain peak for Ethereum. But I'll be posting this in the chats with more detail. Okay, that's me. Have a great day trading. There will be some volatility, I believe, this week, and it would be great to take advantage of it both ways if you're not in any trade and building up your position. And if you are in a short, you know you're in validations. 1390 being held, the 20 on the daily for Ethereum, 21.5 for Bitcoin. Now I'll see you guys in the chats. I'll be posting all of this now. We've had a what do you call a slow morning.
We've had a slow morning. Yes, yeah.
We had a long night yesterday watching it, and now we had a slow morning.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, man. See you soon. Thank you, Mahela. That was awesome.
You're very welcome. Good luck with the short. You're in the short club. Yay! I really hope we're right.
Yeah, me too. That's cool.
Super. See ya.
Yeah.
Okay.